let's look at the webinar options that you have available to you. There are many different platforms, and maybe you use one I'm not going to mention today, but I'm going with the ones that I know for a fact you use the most in your organization. So these are the ones you're most likely to be familiar with. The first one is Zoom, which we'll spend the most time on today because per a survey that I sent out ahead of time that some of you leaders answered, I understood that most people were using Zoom. GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, it's all part of the same package, and I had them for years as well, so I'm very familiar with that platform. And the last one is Google Hangouts, okay? Now we're gonna spend most of our time again talking about Zoom, but those are options that you have available to you. All right, now, here's my biggest piece of advice to you. If you do this correctly, if you do this the way I'm suggesting, this will eliminate probably a full half of any of the issues that you have with your pastors, with your congregants being able to get on a webinar or streaming anything that you're doing. Make sure the directions are very, very clear and put them in your own words. So if you're using Zoom, or if you're using GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, two platforms I've used for years. Once you create your meeting or your webinar, it gives you this page where it's like copy and paste this to invite people. And typically most people copy and paste that. But if you take the time to really read it, and read it from the perspective of someone who is not comfortable with technology, it's actually kind of scary because it talks about, you know, software requirements for your computer. And then sometimes there's all these different international numbers that they can use, and they don't know if they're supposed to use audio on their laptops. So if you have congregants who do have internet, but aren't the most techie, we want to make this as simple as possible. And so rewrite that in your words and save that as a template. And in the future, you can change the links, but we're using the same language. So I suggest that you give people 3 options. And I actually just had to do this with one of my elders very recently, who was invited to be a panelist on a Zoom call. And this person had a lot of anxiety around it because they don't use a lot of technology. And so I walked them through it ahead of time. And I said, oh no, this is an amazing opportunity. It's going to be easy. And you know what? Tech issues happen all the time. I don't care how techy you are with webinars. But the good thing about webinars is there's so many options. And so this is what you're explaining to your people. So you want to give them an option 1 and tell them, hey, there's 3 ways to sign on, okay? Number 1, you can use your device. That could be your computer or your smartphone. You click this link. You use this password. It'll ask you for the password, or you can click this link with a password included. So put that in there. So you give them one or the other. Don't give them both. You choose for them which one they're going to do. And then you say, and then you can use the sound and the microphone on your device. That's option number 1. Option number 2, go ahead, use this link or whatever, and now you can call in on your phone to use that audio. Here's the phone number you're going to dial in on. So that way, if you have any issues with number 1, here's the other option. Option number 3, if you do not have access to the internet, or if you are, uncomfortable using Zoom just yet, you can just dial in by phone and be present for the entire webinar. And you do not even need a smartphone. You can use a corded phone if you want. You could use a rotary dial phone if you want, just about. I think you could. I don't know if anyone still has those though. Anywho, my point is just tell them number 3 is you can just call this number and you'll be dialed in. If you put it in those words and make it very simple and don't put a whole bunch of extra stuff in there, people will feel more comfortable. And so like when I was speaking to my elder, I explained to her, well, here's what I suggest you do. I know you have a smartphone, even though you don't use it a lot. Put your smartphone right next to your computer, because she had a desktop computer. Said you're going to dial in through your computer and you have a microphone and your webcam attached to that computer. I said, keep in mind, if for any reason your microphone isn't working, you dial up on the phone number, this number that's right here that she gave you. Okay, if that doesn't work for some reason, you can just use your phone and click that same link in here, go to the Zoom meeting here and have the whole meeting here. And if anything happens where that doesn't work, then just use your phone, call the number. They're going to see your name or whatever, but you'll be able to participate and they'll hear your voice. So if you let people know that sometimes technology doesn't work the way we want it to, it might not even be them, but there's 3 or 4 different ways that they're going to get on. So no matter what, they'll make it. That relieves a lot of the pressure. So it's all about how we explain it to people, because right now it's a ministry all in of itself, just trying to get everyone comfortable with the technology as much as possible, while making sure that we're taking care of those people who do not have internet access and need to be able to dial in.